one. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And do you know where you're at? Well, if you're looking at my face, and if you're looking at Matt NoneTheWiser's face, that means you're on GameFace. I am your host, Richard Ewing. As I said, he is Matt NoneTheWiser Wise. And before I get started, as always, Matt, you know me, I got to go to the questions.
Get them.
So if you're trying to figure out what color shade for your drapes you need to have in the front living room, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out how to move from one home to the new one and you need help, you're on the wrong podcast. However, if you need insight into Bay Area sports, and if you need insight on sports on a national level, you put your GameFace on. And if you want to be able to get information from a spectator's perspective, once again, you got your GameFace on. I'll say it again. He's Matt NoneTheWiser. Welcome to GameFace. We love to have you. Matt, what do we got?
Hey, it's been a while, and so it's okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's been a while for a good reason, because to be honest with you, I had to get some R&R. I had to get some relaxation in before the Olympics started, because once the Olympics start, my life becomes chaotic and crazy. And especially when it's live, at 3 a.m. in the morning, sometimes I got to be committed to the game. So we had to take some time off just to kind of relax and recuperate. You got a nice little background going on back there. Yeah, you look relaxed.
Okay, but this is the thing. Okay. And folks, if you're watching the podcast right now, basically what happened is real life happened. Okay. This man needed vacation time and I had to move. So I had to go get myself some new digs. And I'm gonna tell you something. You know what I learned about moving? I don't ever want to do it again. Okay.
No, you never want to do it again. And you're not a moving expert. But if you want to talk sports, then that's what's up. And
yeah, that's what's up. That's what I do. Together. But I just think my wife and I, we have resolved in our hearts that moving forward, if we ever have to move again, we will use a moving company.
There you go. There you go. And listen, July is coming to an end. July is a great month of sports, July and August. But if you're into sports betting, Bet Online is where you should go to win your money today. I know the NBA Finals have just ended. I did not expect the Milwaukee Bucks to be the NBA champions. So I would have lost some money, but I didn't do it. But with MLB heading into the second half of the season, there's plenty of betting action to get involved in. And if you're a football bettor, football season's around the corner, and there's tons of futures and props that you can wager on as well over at Bet Online. Bet Online has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. So visit their website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, whatever's ahead, go over to Bet Online and start playing today. That's betonline.ag, your online sports book experts. And they've got Olympics stuff. You could do Olympic betting. You could be a degenerate like me that not only would watch every single event he can get his eyeballs on, but can also go and put money down over at betonline.ag. So,
well, I've said this before, and I say it just about every time. Okay, just like you, if I would have put money on the NBA Finals, I would have lost because I probably went with Phoenix. But I don't gamble, so I don't lose money. I don't gain any money, but I don't lose anything either because I don't gamble. So, but if you think you got the chops, you think you can make it happen, go. You just gave me a web address where to go to. But you're right. To your point about the NBA Finals, I did want to talk about that because that was a finals that, you got to give, props where they're due. And the Greek Freak just smashed Phoenix, just smashed them. Not to mention they had a problem. They had a problem stopping, their cast of characters as well. They had a problem trying to stop Robin Lopez. He was scoring on them. Middleton was scoring on them. and then you had Connaughton. You had all these other guys that were contributing, and it just looked like when I saw the first part of Game 6, Phoenix just wasn't hitting shots. They just weren't. They weren't hitting any shots. They weren't hustling after balls. All the rebounds were going to the big guys. And after a while, I mean, I like Ayton. I really do. But I think his awareness on the boards was just a factor in that game.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate for Phoenix Suns fans, Chris Paul, the whole story that was going in to the finals. But for me, I'm super happy for Giannis. I think I love what he means to the game. I love the way that he carries himself. I love the way that he interacts, takes, the fans. He loves his fans. And I think he's a great ambassador for the game, the NBA game. Mm-hmm. But what you mentioned and I noticed was the reason why he stayed in Milwaukee, the reason why he was willing to sign the extension was he wanted other pieces around him. And he finally got some other pieces around him. Mm-hmm. And now you see what happens when he gets what he needed. With Holiday. Holiday had a huge series. I mean, he may not have done a lot offensively, but defensively, he was nasty. Middleton doing his thing. I mean, he held him in the series, I think, for a good portion of it. But, so I'm super happy with where the NBA turned out, the NBA Finals, Giannis, the Milwaukee Bucks. But now I'm really just super excited to see what the Warriors are going to do in a couple of days with the NBA draft coming up. And are they going to hold on to their 7 and 14 pick, or are they going to trade away their pick with some of these rumors I'm hearing is just insane. The 7 and the 14, Wiggins and Wiseman for Bradley Beal. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. That does not move the needle for me.
No, Nat, you're giving up way too much. And I'll tell you something else. Really, at the end of the day, to your point, getting back to that, I'm gonna shift over to the Warriors afterwards. You were talking about Giannis and the cast with the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the things that's really interesting about that whole dynamic was that before this season, last season, before he signed that extension, there was talk about him going to play someplace else and to build a super team. And instead, he decided not to do that, re-signed the extension with the Bucks, leads the Bucks to the promised land. Basically, by him doing that and by them having a dominant center, you could tell that the, super team is slowly fading out. It's like the Bucks went back to traditional NBA basketball where they had a big man who could get the job done and they had a cast of characters that supported it.
They had a few big men.
Yeah, a few, yeah, because they had Robert Lopez too. But I'm still saying my point being is that this is where if I'm Bob Myers, I'm thinking just like you are, NoneTheWiser. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? I'm not trading Wiseman. I'm not giving up my 7 and 14 for one person. That's just way too many assets that you're giving up for Bradley Beal.
Well, I do know they have to give up quite a bit because of the money coming back and everything, and because they're over the cap, and so all that. I do know there is that aspect of it. So they are going to have to give up probably a little bit more than they normally would to acquire someone like that. To me, I just don't like it. I don't. You got Stephen Clay in your backcourt. You don't need a Bradley Beal. No. You know what I mean? You need size, you need rebounding, you need defense, right. You need a rim protector, you need a rim runner. You know what I mean? You need those things. And Bradley Beal's a great player. He just doesn't do it for me. And so I think with the 7 and 14, you can get youth, which I know the Warriors aren't excited about because they want to actually make another run at the title. But you could get youth, or you trade the 7 and 14. You go up and get a player in the top 5. That's what I would be in favor of, rather than trading. And then you sign Kelly Oubre, sign and trade.
Yeah,
see what you get for him.
Yeah. Gonna move over to my Gigantes.
Hey, man. So, like, last 7 games, all right, Giants have won 4 out of the last 7, okay? And they've done that against the Dodgers. They won 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers in LA. I drove right past the stadium, and they deserve those losses. That it's a terrible area. It's a terrible. Anything about the Dodgers is terrible. It's just terrible.
Yes, on this show, anything about the Dodgers is terrible. We're going to repeat that. And those of you watching, if you're Dodger fans, you probably don't want to be here right now.
You shouldn't, because we're not going to talk anything good about the Dodgers because they don't play here in the Bay Area. And we're going to talk about the Giants. And the Giants went down there and whooped them 3 out of 4 and took it from them. And then they came back into San Francisco and they got beat by the Pirates. But that was probably one of those trap games because they got 2 huge series coming up, in my opinion, against the Dodgers and the Houston Astros. But the young guys are playing well. Wade's playing well. Therio's playing well. You're getting contributions still up and down the lineup. They're still hitting bombs. I think they hit like 5 yesterday. So it's a good to be a Giants fan right now.
So I understand Joey Bart got sent down to AAA.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's packaged in some kind of deal. Because the way Buster Posey's been playing and the contribution, I don't know. And from what I understand, they have other top tier catchers in their minor leagues. So coming up. And so Bart may be like ready to play but he's not going to get the time. And so I think it might be time we might see him go. And who knows?
Wow. I don't know. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, what would happen if he went full time?
Well, they had the opportunity right now. Buster's been out with that thumb injury and he wasn't sniffing much. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think the Giants are going to make a move. It's probably not going to be a big splash. I don't see them getting a guy like Chris Bryant from the Cubs.
Right.
But I do see Farhan being the intellectual genius that he is and making some very, very thrifty and crafty moves.
Yeah. So it appears that Brandon Belt may be back sooner than they thought.
Wade Jr.'s got 12 home runs already this year.
I know. I was putting it out there.
Really, really well.
Yeah.
Good. Good. I'm like, Brandon Belt was balling this year, but as per usual, the health issue. So it may be time to see what he can get on the market. It's kind of interesting that the story would come out now that he's ready. He's making his comeback to come back.
Yeah. It seems like to me, Gabe Kapler's got some decisions to make moving forward, especially with the trade deadline coming up. So I want to move over to the 49ers because, I love my Niners. I just love them. I love them. I tell you something. I wish I can get that flag you got hanging behind you. Okay. Because that's what's up. Okay.
That's what's up. Faithful and faithful now, baby.
That's right. But we re-signed Fred Warner, which is huge. They're already talking about Nick Bosa. They're talking about the play of Trey Lance. Some of them even thinking that Lance is going to start. I think it's too early to say that. But everybody is high anticipation for the first preseason game where Trey Lance, is over center. So with that in mind, I'm telling you something. I just want to see him throw a pass to Jalen Hurd. I want to see that, dude. I want to see because Jalen Hurd is a beast, man. If he can keep himself healthy,
that's the thing. If he can keep himself healthy, because I've been hearing those rumors for 2 years. Like, I can't wait for us to see Jalen Hurd and what he's gonna do, and we've seen Bupkis. So I'm excited to see it. I'm just, the excitement's just a little bit dwindled these days.
Yeah. And I tell you something, with his health being the way it is, I can appreciate where you're coming from because I'm kind of melancholy on that area as well. But I will say the one thing they have been talking about, other than Trey Lance, is definitely what Kyle Shanahan is going to do with this so-called just deep running back core. They're saying it's just deep. It's just, he has like all these running backs who can run the football, and apparently they're all very fast. Okay. My biggest issue about that is when you run the football, your percentage of losing the football is at about 50% because running backs can fumble. Okay. And that's really what I'm going to be watching, because we got to be honest, man. Mostert, when he ran the football, he rarely lost it. I think he only fumbled maybe one time all season.
Well, that's what kind of gave that's what ran Breida out, right? A little bit was his troubles to hold on to the football.
Right. And I'm just and with all these new faces, it's coming. There's going to be one of those guys that's going to be, well, yeah, you're fast and yeah, you can run, but you can't hold on to the football, and you turn the ball over. And you turn the ball over and you do it at a crucial time when the Niners are either needing to score, or it's a never say maybe, game where you can either win or lose. And so that's my biggest worry about the running back core. It really is.
Why would you be worried about that? That sounds awesome. That sounds like a good problem to have, right?
Well, it's just that you understand, I'm old school Niners. I remember the days of them having running backs, man, and the game would be on the line, okay? And you knew, okay, the quarterback can just simply toss a pass, and all like a 5 yard in, all of a sudden we won the game. But then they hand the ball off, and dude, he misses the pickup, or he takes a step and misses the handle, and all of a sudden the ball falls out. The team falls on and they win the game. You're just going, oh. He's like, oh, the agony. Oh,
yeah, just how many times in a crucial moment does a quarterback throw a pick? I mean, those times happen. I don't know. You give Shanahan all those horses in his stable, and being able to design an offense to attack a defense with all those horses in his stable. I mean, can you imagine some of the matchups that he's going to create with each one of his running backs? They're not going to know what hit him.
Yeah, and
they're not going to know what hit him.
Well, to your point, we think about this. Hey, Kyle Shanahan is the master of the decoy. He is. He's the master of the decoy. He'll put him in the I formation, and you just know he's going to run the football. Then all of a sudden he flares out in the corner and he catches a pass. Like, oh damn, really? That just happened? Where are we at? Where's our free safety? Somebody get over there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, because you're right. He does do that.
And you know what? You're going to need it. Like, think about it. Like, you're going to need all those horses in your stable in the running back position, because at wide receiver position, your depth isn't as deep. You don't have all those horses, or you're not sure what you do have. So, you can make up for it now because you got a couple extra pieces in your running back field,
And if they can catch the football, like I said, it's decoy city. I expect Brandon Ayuk to have a breakout year.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, I expect him to break out year. And I tell you something, I hope he's worked on his speed in the offseason, because that was one of his biggest Achilles. He could catch the football, he could run the route, but he didn't have no breakaway speed. That was the one thing that bothered me about him.
Man, I don't know. He's kind of the speed guy, right? Like, so,
but
him and Debo, he's kind of the speed guy, right? Debo
but more I'm talking about breakaway speed. When you catch the football, you're gone. Okay.
Another gear, like the gear I don't got. You know what I mean?
The gear I'll never have now because I'm too old.
Yeah, I got first and second, and then that's it, bro.
Well, you got first and second. I don't have no gear.
Oh, hey, you an automatic, baby.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to shift gears over to the Oakland A's, and we're going to shift gears to the Oakland A's because I'm sure you were.
I just heard Henderson, Nevada is the new potential landing spot for the Oakland or for the A's.
I just can't.
I've been to Vegas. You're not going to drive to Henderson, Nevada to watch the A's. It's not going to happen.
Okay, but this is the problem I have. I just can't see to figure out how it is that the city of Oakland could mess this up.
I listened to an interview on local radio here in the Bay Area, and they interviewed a lady that wrote an article on the owner and people that were connected to the owner, that knew the owner well, of the Oakland A's.
Talking about Mr. Fisher.
Listen, that guy's a butthead.
Sure he is.
That guy is, I mean, if his ego wasn't in the way, this probably would have gotten done. From what I've heard and what I'm hearing, yes, the city of Oakland, like, let's pull it together, let's get this done, because you cannot afford to lose the Oakland A's. All right. But on the other end of things, like, this guy's trying to take advantage of the city of Oakland, and leave them holding the bag for stuff that's kind of like, it's a exorbitant, or, too much.
Okay, but this is the thing. At the end of the day, as much of a butthead Fisher is, and we all know he is, because we look at the way he handles the A's. He handles the A's like a cash cow. It's like whenever he wants money, just sticks his hand in, takes the money, and just takes it. And then the players go out there, they're competitive every year, no matter what he does. But him being a butthead as an owner is something that he has a right to do. He owns the A's. It's not right.
Absolutely.
It's not right. It's not ethical what he's doing, but he does have the right to do that. It's the same thing with Mark Davis. Mark Davis had the right to do what he wanted to do with the Raiders because he owns them. Was it correct? No. Was it ethical? No. Was it right to the fan base? No. But he did it anyway. Okay?
And then that's the thing. Like, okay, you can do whatever you want. Honestly, at the end of the day, like, who am I? Who are you? Like,
right. And we got to be honest, they're not going to listen to us.
No, do what you do, right? Do you,
right.
Like they would say. But here's my thing is, like, that's how you lose customers. That's how you lose consumers. That's how you lose fans. And if you look in the stands around Oakland, you've done it to yourself at this point. Look at what's going on over in the Bay. San Francisco, they just sold out 30,000, 30 plus thousand, right? Because look at the ownership, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're investing back into the company, investing back into their business. Look at the Warriors. The Warriors, I've been a Warriors fan my entire life. The one, like, diehard Warriors fan my entire life. And they've never been good. They've never been good my entire life until the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what changed? Ownership.
Yep.
Like, I don't know much about the ownership previously, but I do know the GMs.
Okay, look, I tell you something. I'm a diehard fan, and I know a lot about the ownership earlier, the one before. Okay,
right?
It was garbage. It was garbage. Cohen was garbage.
All buttheads.
Yeah, so, Cohen was garbage.
So that's the thing, and you bring in new ownership. What happens under new management? All these fans come back, and all these consumers start coming. You walk around the Bay Area, dude. People are repping the Golden State Warriors so hard around here.
Mm-hmm.
It's obscene.
Hey, look, wait a minute.
Right there.
Look, that's right. That's right.
And that's great. Like, because new ownership brought life into that team. And look what it has done for the entire community of the Bay Area. And look at what the Oakland A's have given. You could put a product on the field, but what have they really given to their fans? Because their fans know it's half-hearted.
Okay, Henderson, Las Vegas. I didn't even know there was a Henderson, Las Vegas.
Henderson, Nevada is like 30 or 45 minutes off the strip, I believe.
Okay.
I've been there once.
So your whole deal is that you really don't see nobody driving all the way out to Henderson to see the A's if they get out there.
No, your fan base is going to be Henderson, Nevada, and the population of Henderson, Nevada, I don't think is big enough to sustain a Major League Baseball team. They're talking about not even building a stadium, but just playing in the minor league stadium they have there.
Well, this is the thing. We all know that the terminal, I don't know why I can't think of the name of it now.
Jack London Square.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but they're calling it something else. It's something terminal.
Yeah.
Forgive me for not remembering, but that is something that's still viable. Apparently, the ownership and the head of the office for the A's are still going through a lot of paperwork with their lawyers. They're fine-tooth combing this, and because they do understand that apparently a yes vote was taken from the city of Oakland just not on every single detail that they wanted. So they got to go through. They got to go through all this paperwork and figure out what was agreed on yes and what they did not say yes to. But I still think them taking that position is going to mess the whole thing up, because you look at, and this is the thing about Libby Schaaf and her front office. Okay, they're not thinking about the long-term effect of them making this happen. That's where they're messing up. They didn't do that with the Golden State Warriors. They didn't do it with the Oakland Raiders. Okay, if they would have stopped looking right in front of themselves and looked, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, they would have saw that whatever they don't necessarily agree on, whatever, that could have been hashed out later on in another meeting. Okay,
I agree. Look, but here. Let me give you the city of Oakland side of it. During a pandemic, during a global pandemic, and we're not even out of it yet, we don't think, right?
No, we're not.
The city of Oakland says yes. So that's progress right there. That's foresight. That's vision, because from my understanding is the ownership of the A's, it's all or nothing. It's you build this stadium and this surrounding community up, or not at all. We don't do it at all. Like, it's not just this, like, so, and that's where the city of Oakland's like, man, like, you're asking us to invest an extra, whatever, 12 billion, 1.2 billion, whatever the number is, for things that are not stadium related. And that's where they have a problem. And you're making these decisions in the middle of a pandemic. So I do give props to this, because they were given a time frame that was pretty unreasonable. Like, you guys have a week to vote on this. Well, and they voted yes, to their credit. So
okay,
just not yes to all of it.
Okay, but this is the thing, and this is where I kind of see the A side of it too, because you brought out the fact that there's infrastructure that they want them to pay money on. You're kind of saying to the A's, guess what? We want you to help rebuild our city. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. Okay, we're just trying to build a stadium here. We're not trying to help you in your job. Your job is to build the city.
No, the A's want to build the city up around.
They do.
They want to build a community like the Warriors have done over there, where they built that whole infrastructure around the stadium,
right?
The restaurants and the bars and the shopping. That's what the A's want in this proposal, is like, hey, we want this stadium. The stadium's going to cost you boom billion, and now we want you to build up the infrastructure around the stadium. That's going to be another boom $1 billion. And Oakland was going, well, hold on a second. We want to do the stadium, but now you're adding another boom amount billion of dollars to this price tag, and it's getting real steep.
Yeah. Okay. And on that note, we're going to have to go, because we actually ran over today, but we had a lot to talk about. So first of all, you're looking at Matt, NoneTheWiser Rise. He's nice and relaxed on his vacation. I'm Richard the Reg Ewing. I'm now settled into my new digs, and you've been watching GameFace on the Bleed Talent Network. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. If you do, you will get an official GameFace t-shirt. When you subscribe, please leave your contact information. It's important for us to have that information so that we can send you your t-shirt. You can come in, you can sit down, you can even have a drink. But if you do, you better have your GameFace on.